Marketing Recap Episode 1. In this episode, we're taking a look back at social media in 2014, and we'll let you in on how you can be a part of the show. Welcome to Marketing Recap, where each week we let you in on the latest news from the world of digital marketing and what it means for your business or organization. So, yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're not only celebrating the new year, but also our very first episode. My name is BJ Smith. I'm one of the hosts for Marketing Recap. And before we go any further, I want you to meet my partners, Cynthia Johnson and Blake Jameson. Cynthia, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Cynthia Johnson, as BJ said. Thank you, BJ. And this is Marketing Recap. I actually am the Director of Marketing and Social Media for an agency in Santa Monica, California. We are Rank Lab. And I'm also the Editorial Director for socialmediaclub.org. Maybe you're a part of one of the chapters in your local city. If you are, give us a shout out. And I will pass the mic off to Blake.
Cool. Thanks, Cynthia and BJ. So my name is Blake Jameson. I am currently Director of Content Marketing at an e-commerce company called Pool Supply World. I've worked kind of throughout the years as a freelance social media consultant for a variety of brands and industries, and tend in that space to focus on Facebook advertising and Facebook marketing, but also dabble in other social networks as well. And yeah, just stoked to kick off the show and kick off the new year, and it's going to be awesome.
All right. And like I mentioned before, I'm BJ Smith. I'm the owner of The Busy Marketer and host of another podcast called the Busy Marketer Podcast. And that's actually how I met Blake and Cynthia. My background started in web design in the late 90s, so I'm probably the old guy of the group by far. I spent much of my career in project management and was the e-commerce marketing director of did a couple of e-commerce marketing jobs before launching my own company. And now I help businesses understand digital marketing and help young marketers, make smart and efficient decisions. Now that you know a little bit about us, let's talk about the show. So this is a weekly show where we take stories that really grabbed our attention over the past week and share them with you guys. This is an interactive show, which means we want you to be a part of it. There are two ways that you can do that, and one is by joining the chat with our Google Plus Hangout. The other is by joining in on our simultaneous Twitter chat using the hashtag MRcap. It looks like Mr. Cap, I think, doesn't it? Before each show, we're going to email out some of the stories that we're thinking about covering that week and a link to the Hangout. You can go sign up for that at marketingrecap.com. There's going to be no spam, just good to know info. And since this is our New Year's episode, we've cooked up a little something special. So instead of recapping stories from the week, we're talking about some of the many changes in social media in 2014. And I think Blake is going to get us started today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I mentioned before, I tend to specialize in Facebook marketing and Facebook advertising. So the big changes that I was looking out for in 2014 and have kind of to go over today is mostly pertaining to Facebook ads. And it's pretty exciting because I remember I started Facebook advertising probably 4 years ago now, and it's come so far, but it's just kind of like any kind of technology seems to be growing exponentially. So this year there were tons of different changes, and depending on your skill level and understanding of Facebook marketing, some of it might not make sense to you. One of the cool things that they added was Facebook allows you to put a tracking pixel on your website and track people that come to your website and create an audience to market to. They call that a website custom audience. And then what you can do now is you can create what's called a lookalike audience. This came out early 2014, and what that means is Facebook will look at traits and characteristics of everybody that came to your site, and then they will create a lookalike audience that is a much larger audience of other Facebook users that share a lot of commonalities with people that visit your site, which can be a great way to prospect new business, whether you sell a product or a service or an app or anything. They've also added a ton of tools for local advertising. It's still got a little bit of ways to go. You can't get you can target very easily geographically, combining that with interests, you still just should use the traditional advertising instead of the local tool. Something that a lot of people kind of got upset about was decreasing organic reach of promotional posts. Personally, I don't really think that's a problem. I just kind of accept that Facebook is a pay-to-play environment. So if I'm creating a post that says, hey, here's my Black Friday special or whatever it is, and I'm selling something, I'm already going to be promoting it anyway. So the fact that Facebook kind of decreased that organic reach didn't really affect me. I know a lot of marketers put up a big stink because they don't want to spend money. Another thing, just more for the consultants out there like myself, which was really valuable. I worked with tons of different types of companies, and I always have them add me as a user on their Facebook advertising account. And it used to be that you couldn't remove yourself. So sometimes I'd work with clients for 3 or 6 months or a year, and then it would just kind of fizzle out, or they'd take it over themselves, or whatever they want. So I had all these ad accounts that I was an admin on that just sat there and I didn't do anything with. So finally they let you remove yourself, which is awesome. And then another cool thing, especially for freelancers like myself, is they changed the pricing structure from daily billing, which was really annoying. If you had a $30 a day budget and you had a credit card on there, you would literally get a $30 charge every day. They changed that over to billing thresholds, and that kind of depends on your ad spend and your history with Facebook. But it's not uncommon to have a $500 or $1,000 billing threshold where you don't actually have to pay the bill until it gets that big, which makes accounting a little bit easier. So those were kind of the biggest things that affected me. The lookalike audiences, I think, was one of the most exciting things for me. Again, the ability to remove yourself was pretty awesome too, just so that I could kind of tidy up the back end of my own Facebook stuff. But I mean, there's so many changes. Every week it's changing, which is why this show is so exciting, because we'll be able to talk about that kind of stuff. But as far as kind of highlights or top level stuff for 2014, that's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, and we were talking about some of this a little bit before we even got started today, how this year and the summer, really, for a lot of it, is there's been so many changes, and not just Facebook, but on Twitter, Snapchat, so many of the other platforms, new platforms emerging during this past year with places like Sue and Ello. One of the things you were talking about just now was the reach problem, the reach apocalypse that everybody's been screaming about over the past year. We started seeing the effects of it. It's been about a year ago now, and really kind of ramped up. And I think one of the things that a lot of folks don't realize, and you made a really good point about how, if it's something that's really big that you want to promote, that you're going to be paying for the ad anyway. But I think what a lot of folks don't realize is that there's so many people who follow so many different companies and have friends with so many different people that their streams, their news feed gets crazy cluttered anyway. Mm-hmm. And even before they killed everybody's reach, it was still hard to. I mean, it's very easy to get lost in the clutter mm-hmm. of what was already there. And with mm-hmm. ads, you at least have a better shot of getting the eyeballs of those users.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can control literally with the budget how many impressions you get. And I think that it's funny that I know that it's been kind of, like you said, reach apocalypse has been a big talking point, not just this year, but the last several years, people flipping out about it. But the reality is, like, the options before social media, say if you're doing a media buy in a magazine or on a billboard or on the radio, if a magazine's readership is 100,000 and then you buy a full-page ad that's, whatever, on page 75, it doesn't mean you're going to get 100,000 people to see that. Like, people don't read magazines page to page, cover to cover. And same thing, like, it's just never going to happen. If you have a radio station that has 1 million listeners and you buy one radio spot, it doesn't mean 1 million people are going to hear it, because not everybody, listens at one time. So it's the same thing on Facebook. It gets so crowded, and it's certainly a competitive space. But I think once you understand that and accept it, and then, you can learn the rules and then play your best within those rules, I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and something else that I think people need to be aware of is, starting in January, and I think they're going to be rolling out over a period of time, but they're going to be reducing the reach even further, especially on certain types of posts that they see as being overly promotional, things like that. So, if you want organic reach, and it is possible, there are certain places that I follow that have incredible organic reach, and that's because they're putting out content that is so valuable. And Facebook knows it. Facebook is paying attention to the type of information that they're putting out. They're seeing that people are reading it and clicking through, and they're staying. One of the things that hit this past summer was the clickbaiting deal, where if you were putting out some kind of crazy headline to really pique somebody's attention to get them to click on your link and take them to your website, and then you really didn't have good content on your website, then they would come back to it. Facebook's like, why are we sending people, why are we showing people this post? Because people are clicking on it and then they're coming right back to us. Obviously, it wasn't anything that was worth their time, so it's, they want to give the best experience for their users. But anyway, so that's just something else. Make sure you're putting out good content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cynthia, you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, my stance on it is that, it's exactly like Google search. You pay for, PPC ads or whatever, it is for certain keywords, and whatever appears on page one does so because they fit a certain criteria of what you're looking for. In Facebook's case, the reach hasn't decreased. It's just that whatever it is you've been previously discussing might not impact the large percentage of your audience or a large percentage of any audience like you thought it would. And so again, putting out better content would definitely help in that situation. But as Blake said, why are you so upset with having to pay for a little bit of reach that's so highly targeted? Fit it into the budget.
Yeah. Put it in the budget and then get them on your email list.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Speaking of, we should remind people, sign up at marketingrecap.com for art.
Well played.
Really well done. Yeah.
All right, Cynthia, you want to share some stories with us?
Yes. So I was kind of going to elaborate on my theory of things. So to start, I want to talk about the changes in what I like to call the SEO social, right? So Facebook recently added the past post search function. So this means, and not everyone has it yet. Unfortunately, I don't even have it yet. I have to log into my intern's Facebook to see it. But you can search words. This is a little upsetting, but for instance, I could put the word Blake followed by the word drunk, and if we're connected on Facebook, any image that's tagged or he appears intoxicated in, whether that be comments or shares or whatnot, you'll be able to see that. So there's that, and then Instagram added the type ahead search function. So before, if you wanted to find something, you had to type it out, and now it works like a predicted text function. So it suggests words. So knowing the words that are going to appear for, YOLO, for instance. If you put YO, it's probably going to be yo and YOLO, right? But if you use the hashtag yo-yo, forgive me for not knowing enough YO words, you're farther down on the list, and that hashtag, kind of decreases its value at that point.
So that's very similar to what Google is doing with their search. Like honestly, when I was interviewing Blake for the other show, I went to Google, and I think I told you this, Blake, but I went to Google and I started typing in Blake Jameson, and and beside it said Blake Jameson Tinder. Mm-hmm. And if you guys don't know what you don't understand the Tinder thing, I'll make him explain that a little bit later.
Yeah.
They could Google me; they'd find it pretty easy.
Yep.
Yeah, and so we see this over and over again. That Pinterest has added their guided search function, and what it's doing is it's telling you not only in your feed and your reach, but in the actual search itself, it's stopping people and it's redirecting them. So if we don't start looking at social media platforms like we look at Google, is as an SEO tool, we're going to fall short. And social media people really need to start learning the basics of SEO, because it applies so much so into social, especially, Facebook is partnered with Bing, local businesses. They now have, buy now and call to action buttons. They're keeping you essentially in the app, right? We want to say on the site, but they're moving toward a mobile strategy, a more mobile game. And in 2014, you just kind of watched all of these social platforms take that direction. And what they're saying is you don't need to go anywhere else because you can do everything right here, which is exactly what Google has done, well, ever since the beginning of Google. So, yes, buy the social media ads and put the money out there, just like you would if you had a web-based revenue model. You would do PPC ads, but you'd also do some sort of SEO, because good content will give you that organic reach, and in past posts now as well, in future posts, in current posts, as well as the push you'll get from using the Facebook ads or the Twitter ads and so on and so forth. But in 2014, I think, for me, the biggest change that I saw was the change in search functions across the board in social, and the removal of kind of a unique thought when searching in social, because they're directing you to the most important or the most search able to finish. So that's my 2014 recap. So think of social media and SEO a little differently.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're talking, since you're already talking about Google and where they are, one of the things that's really impressed me over the past several months of this year, probably the past 6 or 7 months, is how, and I'm an old AdWords guy, so I've dealt with Google AdWords for many years and juggled all kinds of budgets, and the tools there, I mean, it's really complicated, but the tools there are fairly robust, and some of the things that you can do inside of AdWords is really special. And I like that Facebook and Twitter, those guys are actually starting to catch on, and they're paying attention, not only with the search aspect of it, but with the tools that they give you. Blake specifically was talking about website custom audiences. On both Facebook and Twitter, now I can place a pixel. So if you've been to, not only have you been to my site, but if you've been to a specific page on my site and done a specific action, that I can send you an ad based on what you have done, either in Facebook or on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Likewise, I can take my email list, people that I know that they already know me. They know they're familiar with the brand, and I can take that list and I can upload it to Facebook or Twitter. Facebook's custom audiences, Twitter is tailored audiences, but we can take that, upload it, and make an audience out of them. So we are basically going back to the people who are already familiar with us on another level, in a different area, and they're more likely to interact with those ads. So I'm really excited with the progress that social media has made as far as ads are concerned.
Yeah, and just to add to that really quick, BJ, because I think it's awesome if you can, especially if you work with a client that's smart enough to understand what you're trying to accomplish. But segmenting your audiences so that if somebody visits a particular page on your site, then they fall into a certain audience, and if they get it to another page, they're in another audience. You can do really cool stuff with exclusions just as much. So, like I said, if we're using a lookalike audience for people that might be our customers, we want to send our ad to all of those people, but then we want to exclude people maybe that have been behind the paywall of our membership site or to an order confirmation page, because we don't want to waste money and impressions on somebody that already has paid us what we want.
Exactly.
So it's just as awesome with the exclusions for those custom audiences, which is awesome.
Yeah, and Twitter's introduced that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's very cool stuff. All right. Let's see what else we have today. I want to go back a little bit and talk about the Buy Now button, Cynthia. I think you mentioned that a couple times. I've seen a little bit of that. I haven't. It's not out of beta yet, is it, for Facebook?
It's again it's a slow rollout. So
There
I've
you go.
actually seen it and implemented it on a couple of pages, but there are a few that I work with that haven't been exposed to it or allowed to use it yet. It's again it's very interesting because that whole it's that whole don't leave us thing, and if you do, you're gonna pay for it, or the person the if wherever you're going is going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And when this was again why I say we're starting to see those social media sites behaving as search engines, because they're getting you to complete actions, and they're allowing you to see things that have previously been done, based on what you would like to see. It's going to be very helpful. I believe they're predicting a 2.5 time increase the conversion rate per page. So
Yeah, and I have to put on my e-commerce marketing hat here for a second because that's so much of my background. Um, one of the things that e-commerce marketers have fought for the past few years is that mobile conversion, and it's very difficult and it's getting easier. We saw this year with Apple introducing their pay system, Google Wallet. Yeah, they got some things they need to figure out. Yeah, but they've been out here for a
Mhm.
while. But the thing is, with mobile, everybody says, you have to have a mobile site because mobile is a part of the conversion process, or it may not be where they finish, but it's part of the funnel.
Mhm.
And one of the things that e-commerce people have wanted to do for a while is make, if they start on your phone, help them to finish on your phone. And it's difficult to type in your credit card or, tap in your credit card. Um, but that stuff's getting easier. People are starting to use PayPal on their sites. They're using the Apple Pay and things like that. But what I really find interesting about Facebook now, this Facebook buy stuff, is I don't know if you can guess correct me on this if this is right. Can you retarget with a Facebook buy ad? So if somebody comes to my site and they see a specific product, I tag them with a pixel, and if they're browsing their phone, can I show them an ad for that same product with a buy button on it? Does anybody have an answer for
Um,
that? I mean,
well, I know that
it's so new I
we
haven't
do
played with it.
retargeting for particular products, but I don't have the immediate buy feature.
Yeah. Well,
Unfortunately, I haven't got it rolled out, but we do. If somebody visits a particular product, we will send them an ad with a picture of that product that will take them back to that product page to buy it.
yeah, see now, and the thing that I think is going to make this really interesting is that with the Facebook buy button, you've got your shipping information stored in Facebook. You'll have your credit card information stored, or your payment information stored in Facebook. So literally, you see that ad, it's got a button on it. You tap buy, and I'm guessing you just hit a confirm. Say, yeah, is this what you want to do? Yeah,
I
and
mean,
go.
yeah, I
Simplified.
mean, or sign up or whatever, download now, whatever
Yeah,
the button is for your specific product. But yeah,
yeah. So okay, really exciting stuff.
definitely.
All right. Do you guys have any takeaways you want to leave us with?
Yes.
All right, go for it, Blake. What you got, buddy?
Yeah, so I got a couple, and they kind of tie into some of the stuff I already talked about. But the first one is just understanding and realizing that Facebook is a pay-to-play playground, and so allocate budget to it if you want to take it seriously and you want to use it. But I think that if you do, it can pay off very well. Next thing is, kind of piggybacking right off that, is that understanding that you don't need a massive budget to get good results, especially for like small business owners that don't have, 5 or 6 figure monthly advertising budgets. It's fine. I've worked with people that spend $5 a day, and you can get results, whether it's likes or website clicks or whatever. Obviously, if you spend more, you can get more, and you're going to get data faster. But I think that a lot of people don't do it because they think that they need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars, and I think that you can start a lot cheaper than that. And the final thing is, if you kind of keep on top of these changes, because things are changing so quickly, both with Facebook every social media platform. As long as you stay on top of these changes, then it really helps you be able to capitalize, because the reality is so many people don't find out about things until a month or 2 months or 6 months or a year after it happens, and then they're like, oh, cool, that's good. And at that point, maybe it's you hear about it because everybody's doing it, and then all of a sudden it's super competitive and it doesn't work as well as it did to begin with. So I think that's why one of the reasons I'm really excited about this podcast is that we're always talking about fresh stuff. We can help people kind of stay on that cutting edge without having to have it be their full-time job. You know, they can tune in for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever this ends up being for the week, and we can kind of give them a couple actionable things to say, okay, look, this buy button just hit Facebook. Give it a try. Spend a couple bucks on it. You know, this is what happened to me when I did it this week. So I'm really excited about that. I think that's huge.
Yeah, and to kind of follow along with that a little bit more, we're going to cover only today we just covered a handful of stories. We're going to dive in a little bit deeper to the stories that we talk about every week. We'll probably pick just a couple of stories, but give you some really good information, hopefully get some good feedback. Because we're going to be doing this live, we'll be answering questions at the same time and seeing what kind of questions you guys may have about the stories that are out there. But on top of that, in the show notes, we're actually every week, and I'll show you guys this. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the webcam. That is our stories list that we talked about, that we put together for this actual show. And we didn't cover all of this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this stuff. I'm going to put it in the show notes at the marketing recap. Mm-hmm. I almost said the busy marketer. So you'll be able to go to marketingrecap.com/1. You'll get to see the video that we did with this. You'll get access to the audio, and even more, you'll get access to all these other articles that we either mentioned or that we left out. And it's going to be curated right there for you guys. So everything right there for you to check out. And we'll be doing this every week. It's not going to be that big of a list every week, but it's something we want to make sure that we've got a good resource for you guys, kind of a one-stop shop to get the information you need to know about digital marketing for the week.
Yeah.
Cynthia.
Yes, I do. I have a takeaway. Actually, someone today, the CEO of our company over here at Rank Lab, he said in a consultation, someone said, was talking about SEO and like what is it, and he said, actually, what SEO is that SEO is the process of removing obstacles to give you or bring you the traffic you deserve. And by deserve, that means building great content, playing by certain rules, and not trying to spam or scam the system. And that is the traffic you deserve. It is not something, whether it be on a social platform or on Google, that is built by scams. And as we've seen with updates and changes, we're not going to get away with that anymore. So if you don't have that budget that Blake wants you to have, at least start producing good, well-rounded content.
Excellent. And one thing that I want to kind of leave everybody with is I'm seeing a lot of buzz here lately about the disconnect between television and digital. And I think it goes beyond that. And the disconnect I'm talking about is with campaigns. So say you have a particular product that you want to push. You're pushing out traditional media, television, radio, magazine, whatever it is. You need to make sure that what you're doing on the digital side is reflecting of some of that, and then it's part of a cohesive strategy. One of the things that we've really seen in the past year, 2 years, is how deep social media is becoming, and it's getting more and more difficult for there to be a jack of all trades. So we're looking for people who, instead of having the social media guy, we're having teams of people. So we've got a team of people working on social media. We've got a team of people working on our websites. We've got a team of people working on our email campaigns. And what I want to make sure everybody's doing, not just in traditional stuff, but with traditional and across all your digital platforms, is that you're making sure that everybody's communicating, you have a leader that can actually drive, whether that's somebody who's on your team in-house or if that's somebody you're outsourcing to. Just make sure everybody's on the same page, and you guys will have a great 2015. Yes? Okay.
I think that's solid. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. That's going to wrap up episode 1 of Marketing Recap. So, Blake, why don't you let the folks know how they can get in touch with you?
Blake Jameson, Jamieson, on any network. So facebook.com/Blake Jameson, or Twitter, Instagram, Google+, BlakeJameson.com. Pretty easy. Yeah.
Excellent. How about you, Cynthia?
So it's not quite as simple. On Google Plus, it's plus Cynthia Johnson. And on Twitter, it's at Cynthia Live, CYNTHIALIVE. And I host a weekly Twitter chat if you ever want to come by. I'll be mentioning stuff that we talk in the podcast. It's hashtag the SM Girl, Tuesdays at 1 o'clock Pacific time.
Awesome. And you actually talked about one of my favorite new apps that we didn't really talk about today, but the new Facebook Groups app.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, there's all kinds of good information on Cynthia's chat. I love to drop in there every time I get a chance. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at BJ Smith Strategy, or come check me out at thebusymarketer.com. You can also see my other podcasts there as well, and in iTunes. Remember to join us next Thursday for the live show at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. You can find out more information and get links to the reminders and everything else at marketingrecap.com. If you can't make it to the live show, we'll be on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and a few other places as I get them listed in these directories. So come check us out, and no matter what platform you're on, please leave us a review. Until next time, we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Right on.
Yay.